From the station that's been rocking you since 92. It's the best of Brian and Taylor on 101.5 The Wolf.
101.5 The Wolf, Central Ontario's best rock with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and I love rock and roll. Good morning. Hey, it's Brian and Taylor. As a kid, I always thought Steve Austin as the $6 million man was cool, but now there's a $100 million man.
Absolutely. Connor McDavid coming to an agreement with the Edmonton Oilers. We learned about it in the last week or so, and we heard about this deal, and it was really a game changer because it meant that, you know, Connor McDavid's now like the highest paid athlete in the NHL, and he's 20, which is disturbing to me.
Think about that for a minute. 20 years old, you have an 8-year extension on your contract worth $100 million.
It's about $12.5 million US per season. They do all get paid in American dollars. Can you imagine the guys in Canada who are getting paid $100 million and it you know, switches into like nothing and when you get paid in Canadian?
Oh, good for him. Connor McDavid. Yeah, he'll do well in Edmonton. I
better.
He'll do okay. Hey, speaking of hockey, we got to wish Hockey Hall of Famer and former Toronto Maple Leaf captain George Armstrong a happy birthday, 87. Funny story about George Armstrong, captain of the Leafs. Brian Armstrong used to work with us here at The Wolf in sales. And years ago, Brian and I went to Toronto for meetings at head office. And Brian said, hey, do you mind if we stop in at Mom and Dad's? George Armstrong, his dad, for a quick bite to eat or just to say hello. They live in Toronto. I'm like, sure, no problem.
Guess that's fine.
So we roll into George Armstrong's home, and there's George in the kitchen, and he says, hey, boys, come on in. Can I make you a sandwich? And I'm like, wait a minute. Former Stanley Cup winner George Armstrong going to make me a sandwich? He goes, yeah, do you want corned beef? I'm like, okay. So he makes a sandwich, pours me a beer, and there I am sitting in the kitchen of George Armstrong's home, former Maple Leaf captain. I was starstruck. He is the nicest guy too.
Yeah?
It was a great beer. It was a great sandwich.
I was going to say, it would have been a little bit awkward if he made you this sandwich and you had to like choke it down because the sandwich just sucked.
George, I really didn't want to tell you, but
Wolf Mornings with Brian and Taylor. Weekdays 5:30 to 10 on Central Ontario's best rock. 101.5 The Wolf.